I won't mention the name, okay? So that nobody can make it an issue. Look, his feedback was that the course was designed superbly, and I endorse that. Totally believe that because until 2019, until 2020, we were doing it, okay? We were running it totally in our control, everything. And I know how it was going. We had wonderful faculty members, LFs, and they took real care of the students. Like this is a class here, you guys are sitting. So all the students had two sessions, one theory session. After studying for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, they would go to the computer and lab. After doing that, they will again come back to this session. And if you're studying quality materials, if you have a teacher like me teaching you, why would you say, I don't want to do it? Yes, 20% of students are not sincere. We understand. They are not sincere. I'm not saying they don't want to study. They're just not sincere. They want to study, but their nature is different. So 20% of students will not pay attention. But the rest of the 80% did pay attention. And result, there were, this institute for KYP, our center was #1 in Bihar. Why? Because when they announced that there will be a laptop given to the best student, it was our student from our institute, not somewhere else. Why? Because we were just, again, I said, the course is fantastic. The execution is faulty. People have made it commission business, dosto. Government pays the center people, and the center people pay to those people who bring students. No need to study, okay? Just they come and that's all. But maybe right now I'm under pressure for the admission. Right now I'm under pressure. It is true, okay? I have to get some admission done. But after that, once this system is running, I don't think people will ask for any, because there will be a queue of students when they know that somebody is actually providing quality education here. So, and I'm going to value those theory times, because practical time is very much the same everywhere on the computer. But what you get in the class, that will set our institute apart. Okay. So hopefully that's my intention. Let's see. So that's why I just asked you guys you have brought your documents, Asim. Yes. Okay. I'll talk to you about it. The government is paying really handsomely, and that's the problem. Some really, greedy people have got into it, and some inefficient people. My cousin is simply incompetent. Okay, we gave him with 120 students running. Okay, and this is where he has left this. Our where is the institute? Library is well famous there. That library. What? Science lab, above Science lab. Okay. Library, Science library. 100. Yes. I talked to those two yesterday, the sisters. They told me that they were in Gaya. And coincidentally, I asked Sahil as well. And Sahil said the same thing, that he was in Gaya. I said, wow, did you go together? But they're not here to answer the question. So guys, there was homework. John Lennon. John Lennon, 1940 to 1980. I know in the future I won't have to do anything, but right now I need your cooperation just to get it rolling. That guy has left it with nothing there. He has just ruined that place completely. I need to hire some good people for teaching as well. I'm taking care of English. Maybe for some time I will take care of the computers, the beginning and everything, because I know what the subject matter and stuff. But soon we'll have to hire more people to teach as well. So right now I need a little bit of your support. Is there somebody coming? Yes, Atif, please. And if anybody who has done +2 and they are not planning to take any education loan, they can apply for SHA2, which will be 2,000 rupees a month. That will be the money government will pay. If you're not planning to take any education loan, because if you took SHA, then education loan will not be granted to you. So anybody who wants to take education loan in the future should not go for SHA. Otherwise, SHA is your money, 2,000 rupees a month. Why not? I think for 6 months, for 2 months, for 2 years. Okay, for 2 years. John Lennon. Okay, think about it. We are running this place where students are paying 5,000 and 7,000 rupees. Okay, that is the place where the students don't need to pay, and still there is a problem. Why? Purely because of the faculties, and all those people who are running the institute. Okay, they simply don't care about the students learning. Otherwise, I don't understand. Common sense says give the best education. You don't have to do anything. Give the best education possible. But now they will do commission thing and all. Read about John Lennon and complete the sentences. Well, right now I can't challenge them. So that's why I have compromised. I said, all right, fine, follow what they're doing. But I believe within 2-3 months, as the word will spread, okay, about the classes, those who will, you guys are studying here because of somebody else, not because of me, okay, because of somebody else. Somebody else told you this is a good place, and that person got nothing. See all the contradictions here, okay? I am asking you to pay an amount of 5,000 rupees, and still the person who recommends this place to you gets nothing. He informed Mapara to come here. Did he get anything? You got your brother here. Did you get anything? You are here, and because of you, these people are here. Did you get anything? No. So when there is a quality education, nobody compares it with money. The problem is people are looking at money there because the quality is missing from education. Again, I will not say the course is bad. The course is good. But the problem is you're not really helping the students understand the course. There is something called soft skill. People like Sadakat, people like, Husham, people like Shlok can benefit so much from the soft skill course. Soft skill. Okay, what is soft skill? You are working in a company or in a place where you are working in a shop, there are 10 people. Now, if you have common sense, okay, then you can figure out the situation and respond properly. But some people find it difficult to control their emotions and understand psychology of other people and give the right response. So soft skill is about understanding psychology. So you are taught things which some people just don't think on their own. They need a little bit of help. I mean, somebody like me that never needed the soft skill course. Okay, some of you guys never need the soft skill course. You know how to handle people. So basically, soft skill course is about understanding human psychology and taking it into account when you're giving your reactions. Whether your reactions will help you or will create more problems for you. That's it. But I really I have got the books here. I will bring the books, show you. I wish it was available to these children as well, but no. John's father left home. V2 beta, V2, left. Left is the V2 of? Left is the V2 of? Leave, L-E-A-V. Remember this very clearly. I have some very good students from good colleges doing engineering, doing, BTech, and they think left is V1. Left me alone. Leave me alone. V1, V2, left. John's father left home. Yes, beta, switch it off. Yes, thank you. John's father left home when he was 5. So sad for John. I think some children are so unlucky that their fathers leave home. And some children are unlucky that mothers die. Well, death is not in your control, but why would you leave after having a child? And if you wanted to leave, you shouldn't have made a baby, isn't it? I know a boy personally, Dharmendra, his name was. He grew up with his bua, I think, and he had a bad childhood because his father also left him. Why? Because his mom died while giving birth. She died, and the father refused to take the responsibility of the boy. He also refused to give him any share in his property. But somehow this boy, he was hardworking and polite and everything. Not very clever though. He was not very clever. I think when a mother goes through some intense trauma while giving birth to the baby, sometimes it affects the mind of the child as well. The child becomes a little slow because of the stress and all. So that guy was not very clever, to be honest. Okay, but he was very polite, very gentle, and today he is doing okay. I think he's in Mumbai. He often messages me on Facebook and other places. He gives me, sir, you were nice to me. I thought, okay. I mean, that was the minimum we could do. When somebody is like that, we can at least be nice if we can't help in any other way. He was not very intelligent, like I said, but I didn't make fun of him. When I was young, I could not really treat not intelligent people very nicely. I will be honest. Okay. I thought when there was somebody not very clever, not very bright, I used to ignore them. I used to just kind of, not like them. But as I grew older and more mature, I realized it is not their fault that they are not clever. So it is not their fault. So why punish them? So be nice to them. Suppose I gave you something to memorize, and some of you are so good that you will read it 2 or 3 times and you will remember it. And there are some people, even after reading the same thing 10 times, they struggle. Now, tell me one thing. Do they deserve ridicule? Do they deserve mocking? Do they deserve disrespect? Because they worked harder. It's another thing that their mind is such that it doesn't really help them. So at least we can be nice to them. And now I'm not like that. So I say people learn from their mistakes if they observe. Sometimes I talk about my mistakes, my weaknesses as well. Okay. I think it is important that elders talk about their mistakes. It gives young people courage to accept their mistakes too. But I think a lot of elderly people, a lot of elders simply try to pretend that they are perfect. They never talk about the bad things they have done. And those people who do, I think young people like and respect them more. At least they are more human. They are accepting that they have done something wrong. That gives me confidence. I've always been that way. When I was young, I was not. Teenagers don't have the confidence to accept any of their mistakes. But maturity is accepting that nobody is perfect. We're all flawed. 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 It means imperfect. We are all flawed. We are not perfect. We are all flawed. And once we accept it, it becomes easier to learn and to correct ourselves. So John's father left home when he was 5. Easy sentence, beta? John's father left home when he was 5. 2. His mother died when he was another bad thing happened. His mother died. Here the verb is died. A regular verb in a way. The V2 is died. His mother died when he was 17. In the second part, the verb is be. In the second part, when he was 5, when he was 17. Here the verb is be, the second. There are 2 parts. Okay, can you see the 2 parts? Say, John's father left home when he was 5. So John's father left home is one part. He was 5 is another part. These parts are called clauses. Clause. Clause. But don't read clause, okay? Because it reminds me of blouse, okay? It rhymes with blouse. So don't say clause because it's not correct actually. The correct pronunciation is clause. Clause, okay? Clause. Not close, not close. That is CLOSE, close. No, clause, okay? But it is not clause. Okay. All the CLAUSE, I think it is. CLAUSE. I think the pronunciation is CLAUSE, clouds. Okay. What we pronounce? Correct pronunciation is close, not clouds. Okay. All the teachers who teach in Bhashif say clouds, main clouds, subordinate clouds. Okay. And I was young, I also said clouds. Okay. But once I learned that it is close and I got it, I don't like saying clouds. Yeah. Okay. John's father left home when he was 5. There are two parts, guys. Can you see two parts? First part is, and the second part is, got it? We can say that this sentence has two clauses. Can you understand that? Okay. I was born in January. Does it have two clauses? No, it has only one clause. Okay. But John's father left home when he was 5. This sentence has two clauses. Two clauses. His mother died when he was 17. This sentence also has two clauses. Okay. He started the Beatles with Paul and George in. This sentence has one clause. Although it's a long sentence, but it has only one clause. So are you getting an idea of clause? Okay, good. He started the Beatles with Paul and George in. Now, number 4, the Beatles played more than 200 concerts. The Beatles played more than 200 concerts. Now, how many clauses do you see in this one? The Beatles played more than 200 concerts. Only one clause, okay? The Beatles played more than 200 concerts, okay? 5, the last album they made was Abbey Road, okay? This also has one clause. Don't think it has two clauses, okay? The last album they made was, okay, the last album they made was Abbey Road. Okay, guys, I want to tell you something. Here, what is the subject in sentence number 5? The last album they made was Abbey Road. Subject. If the last album is the subject, then after the last album, what should you see? The verb? Do you see the verb? Hey, you got your answer wrong. You have to accept that your answer was wrong. Because, you know, after the subject, we see the verb. So, the last album they made was Abbey Road. Okay? So, what is the subject? Really? If they is the subject, then why is the subject in the middle of the sentence? Come on. The sentence starts with the subject. Don't forget. Think an answer. The last album they made, if this is, now you got there. मैं वेट करता हूं कि मेरे बच्चे समझदार बने मेरे साथ रह के। बना ना, पहले गलत जवाब दिया 2 बार, तीसरी बार में सही दिया ना। इसको कहते हैं समझना। आप समझो, द लास्ट एल्बम दे मेड was Abbey Road. Though, what is the verb of the sentence? इस sentence का verb क्या है? Exactly. अब मैं बोलूंगा कुछ कुछ होता है, तो आप बोले the last album they made wasn't कुछ कुछ होता है. Okay? The last album they made wasn't कुछ कुछ होता है. The last album they made was Abbey Road. Got it? So, the last album they made was Abbey Road. Okay. The last film I saw was good news, bad news. Okay. The last film I saw at the cinema. The last film I saw, because at home I have seen other films as well after that. Okay. The last film I saw at the cinema was good news, bad news. The last film they saw, I saw, the last film I saw at the cinema was, okay, the last book I read, the last book I read was, okay, fine. Listen to this one. The last clothes I bought were some jeans. The last clothes I bought were some jeans. Okay. और सुनिएगा. The last clothes I bought were for my brother's wedding. The last clothes I bought were for my brother's wedding. Okay. The last girl I dated, the last girl I dated was was from Tamil Nadu. Okay, the last girl I dated was from Tamil Nadu. Okay, the last girlfriend I had was Tamil. The last girlfriend I had was Tamil. After that, I haven't had a girlfriend. Right now, from this sentence, it means that I'm either single, all right, okay, but I don't have a girlfriend now because I'm saying the last girlfriend I had was Tamil. The last girl I dated was from Tamil Nadu. कुछ सेंटेंस का पैटर्न समझ आ रहा है बच्चों? मैं कोई सीरियस बात नहीं करता इंग्लिश पढ़ाने के लिए, कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है, आपको पैटर्न समझ आना था, समझ गए हैं। और चलिए लेते दो चार और एग्जांपल्स। The last student I killed was in 2017. All right, the last student I killed was in 2000. For last 7 years, I haven't killed anybody. Okay, I am feeling the urge. All right, feeling the urge. अंदाजा लग गया urge का कुछ अंदर से मेरे उबाल क्या करने के लिए, ठीक है, अर्ज समझ गए? All right, अभी बैठे बैठे आपके अंदर अर्ज आए क्या, I wanna eat golgappas. Okay, all right, और अर्ज आए इस लड़के का कान ऐड दें, ठीक है। Some children are violent. Some children are violent. They're sitting. They pick up the pencil and do this to somebody else. There is an urge inside them to just hurt somebody. They're really violent, okay? For no reason, no provocation, no fight, just like that. You know such girls, such guys who are so violent. This is the second day we haven't seen the two little girls. Yesterday they were absent and they're absent today as well. What's wrong? The last city I visited was Gaya. All right. The last city I visited was Gaya. Like this. Okay. So guys, the last album they made was Abbey Road. Okay. So moving on. Here the subject is a long thing. The last album they made. अच्छा गौर से समझते हैं ये दे मेड वहां क्या काम कर रहा है, आखिरी एल्बम जो उन लोगों ने, द लास्ट एल्बम विच दे मेड, द लास्ट एल्बम विच दे मेड, जो उन्होंने बनाया, विच छुपा हुआ है ना बेटा वहां पे, द लास्ट एल्बम दे मेड मतलब द लास्ट एल्बम विच दे मेड, छुपा हुआ है ना वहां पे, द लास्ट एल्बम विच दे मेड, विच बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, द लास्ट एल्बम दे मेड। Okay, तो विच बोलने की जरूरत नहीं थी, यहाँ पे ड्रॉप करने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं, समझ में तो अभी भी आ रहा था। द लास्ट एल्बम दे मेड, ओके। द बीटल्स broke up in 1917, 1917 or 70, 1970, 70, 70, 70, 70। उधर टी पे ज्यादा जोर नहीं डालना, नहीं तो टीन जैसा लगेगा सुनने में। 70, 1970, the Beatles broke up, past tense of break up, break up. The problem is people think break up only with a girlfriend. No, break up means anything that was together and separated, broke up. Okay. The Beatles broke up, the Institute broke up, totally fine. Okay. The Beatles broke up in, they separated. They separated. Here the idea is separation. The Beatles was a band, it was a group of people, and they broke up. It means they separated. The Beatles broke up in, right. कितने लोग को पल्ले नहीं पड़ रहा है मेरे आगे दोनों, सब लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है? आपको समझ में आ रहा है बेटा जो मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ? आ रहा है समझ में? पक्का ना? ओके। अदनान समझ में आ रहा है? अजहान बेटा थोड़ा बहुत पल्ले पड़ रहा है? पक्का ना? थोड़ा बहुत पल्ले पड़ रहा है ना? ओके। सुचित, आपसे पूछूंगा नहीं क्योंकि आपको समझ में आ रहा है, आपसे पूछूंगा नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, और आपसे पूछूंगा नहीं क्योंकि आपको थोड़ा समझ में आ रहा है, ये मुझे पता है, ठीक है। लेकिन बैठे रहें, ठीक है। मुझे वहां थोड़ा सा कंफर्मेशन चाहिए कि जहां पर हो भी सकता है ना भी हो सकता है, about some people I'm sure that they are getting it, about some people I'm sure they are getting only a bit of it, but for some people I need to be more sure कि अभी सही चल रहा है ना, we are going at a good pace, not too slow, not too fast. Okay. The Beatles broke up in 1970. The Beatles broke up in 1970. 7. सदाकत क्या बोल रहा है? भड़का रहा है ना? बोल रहा है पकड़ के मारना आज टीचर को, यही बोल रहा है ना? ये जान रहे हैं। 7 नहीं, उसकी बात मत मानना, बोलना तू मार रहा है मार, तू अकेले मार, मेरे को मत फंसा। ओके हाँ। जॉन एंड योको लिव्ड इन एन अपार्टमेंट नियर Central Park. John and Yoko lived in an apartment near Central Park. Again, one clause, only one clause, one part. John and Yoko lived in an apartment near Central Park. So, first two sentences have two parts, two clauses, and the rest of them have one clause. Okay. तो देखो मैं बहुत आसानी से आपको, आप जिसको कह रहे स्पोकन इंग्लिश कोर्स, ठीक है ना, मैं लोगों को जाकर के कुछ नहीं कर सकता, जो यहाँ बैठे हैं उनको दिमाग में कुछ डाल सकता हूँ, ठीक है। आप यहाँ बैठे मेरी बात सुनते रहे, फॉलो करते रहे, और प्रैक्टिस अगर करते साथ में, जो मैंने आपसे कहा है प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए, फिर आई डोंट थिंक आफ्टर मी देयर विल बी एनी अदर टीचर यू विल एवर नीड। ऐसा मुझे लगता है that you will just study here and your English will be so good. You can always learn new words, okay, any way you want, but you will never go to any person or any place कि मुझे English समझ नहीं आ रही, थोड़ा help चाहिए. You will never say that. Yes, there will be new words that you will learn every day. There will be new idioms you will learn every day, but you'll be fine with your understanding. Let's move on to part 2. Look at the answers about John and the Beatles and complete the questions, everyone. Number 1. John lived with somebody? Who? Who did John live with? John lived. Positive. John lived. Question करना है, lived से वो live हो जाता है ना बेटा, और did आ जाता है कहाँ? तिकड़ी याद है? तिकड़ी, did, subject, V1, यही है ना बेटा तिकड़ी। दो मिले तो तीसरा गेस कर लेंगे। did और सब्जेक्ट है तो आगे हर हाल में V1 होगा, और सब्जेक्ट और V1 है तो उसके पहले हर हाल में did होगा। बस कंफ्यूजन अगर नहीं पहचान पा रहे को V1 है कि नहीं तो बात अलग है, बट इफ यू नो इट इज V1 तो आपको पता है सब्जेक्ट के पहले did है और V1 है तो बीच में हर हाल में क्या होगा? सब्जेक्ट, देन इट विल बी अ क्वेश्चन। ओके, सो तिकड़ी। Who did John live with? He lived with his aunt Mimi. He lived with his aunt Mimi. 2. How did his mother die? How did his mother die? She died in a car accident. She died in a car accident. How did his mother die? She died in a car accident. Okay. 3. Where did John go to school? Where did John go to school? Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. Where did John go to school? Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. He went to Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. इसको दो सेंटेंस में तोड़ देते हैं बेटा, ठीक है? He went to Quarry Bank High School. Full stop. It was. समझ में आया? कितना अच्छा से होता है, आराम से दो टुकड़े में कर दिया. He went to Quarry Bank High School. Full stop. It was in Liverpool. He went to Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. Number 4. When did the Beatles die? When did the Beatles die? Die, no, beta. Start. When did the Beatles start? They started in 1960. They started in 1960. They started. V2 में positive sentence. V2. They started. Okay. Turn on 1 or 2 lights. You know. That they are the fans. Yeah. Thank you. And maybe another. Yeah. That one. Yep. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. When did the Beatles start? और क्वेश्चन करते हैं तो did the Beatles start? No, it's fine. One is enough. They're getting enough light. They started in 1960. तो फर्क ध्यान रखना है. हर जगह started नहीं बोल सकते कि past tense से started बोल दो. Positive sentence. क्वेश्चन में start बोलना होता है. Right? Did लगाना पड़ता है. Negative में start ही बोलना पड़ता है. Didn't बोलना पड़ता है. They didn't start in 1950. They didn't start in 1950. They started in 1960. Okay. Number 5. When did they first go to the United States or move to the United States? Move. When did they first move to the United States? When did they first move to the United States? In 1964. Next. 6. Why? Why did they stop? Because the audience made too much noise. Because the audience made too much noise. 7. Who did John marry? John married. John married. John married है तो क्वेश्चन में मैरिड में से डी हटा और जॉन के पहले डिड आया. ये फॉर्मूला. डी हटाओ, डिड लगाओ. डिड हटाओ, डी हटाओ वर्ब से और डिड लगाओ सब्जेक्ट के पहले. जॉन मैरिड. डिड जॉन मैरी? किससे कर ली? हु डिड जॉन मैरी? ओके. हु डिड जॉन मैरी? ही मैरिड. डायरेक्ट ही मैरिड, क्योंकि सवाल है हु डिड ही मैरी. हु डिड ही, इसमें टू आया नहीं है ना. हु डिड ही, तो आंसर करेंगे ही मैरिड योको ओनो. हु डिड ही मैरी? ही मैरिड योको ओनो. सी द फ्लो. दोनों सेंटेंस को कनेक्शन. आपके दिमाग में क्षमता होनी चाहिए 2 सेंटेंस तक जाने की, एक से दूसरे तक. अभी तक एक सेंटेंस पे फोकस है, अब आप दो पे फोकस करिए. हु डिड जॉन मैरी? ही मैरिड. कैसे आया मैरिड वो देखिए. डिड गायब हो गया, मैरी में डी आ गया वापस. He married Yoko Ono. Who did you see? तुमने किसको देखा? Who did you see? तुमने किसको देखा? I saw you. तुमने किसको देखा? मैंने तुम्हें देखा. हाँ. Who did you see? I saw my mom. Okay. उसने कहा close your eyes. Okay. Think about someone you cannot live without. Think about someone you cannot live without. ठीक है, आसान है इंग्लिश. Think about someone you cannot live without. ऐसे इंसान के बारे में सोचे जिसके बगैर, जिसके का कोई इंग्लिश नहीं हुआ. देखना यहाँ पे. Think about someone you cannot live without. इसीलिए इंग्लिश परेशान करती है. हिंदी में वहां जिसके था, अब जिसके हम रुकेंगे वहां पे, कहेंगे जिसके का इंग्लिश क्या होगा, कुछ होगा ही नहीं. Think about someone you cannot live without. Okay. Close your eyes. Who did you see? I saw you. Huh? Okay. Flirt. है ना? Flirt. 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 Flirting is an art. जो ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है अगर आपका चेहरा थोड़ा सुंदर रहे तो। खराब शक्ल वाले फ्लर्ट करते हैं तो गंदे दिखते हैं, है ना दोस्त? आप देखना चाहते हो सलमान खान को ब्यूटीफुल बातें बोलते हुए कटरीना कैफ को, राइट? दोनों गुड लुकिंग लोग हैं। अगर उसके जगह एक हो तोंदू मलाई से, उसका चेहरे पर हो बड़ा सा यहाँ पर ऐसे, उसके बाद वो कैसी कुछ बोलता रहो प्यारा सा, एक ऐसी औरत को जो ऐसे पड़ी हो मोटी सी, ठीक है, ऐसे ऐसे यहाँ पर कुछ उसके, आपको नहीं मजा आएगा। उतनी जितनी बातें उसने बोलनी है अच्छी अच्छी बातें, आपको नहीं मजा आएगा। इससे क्या पता चला? मेरे साथ रहोगे पागल हो जाओगे। क्या पता चला इससे? सोचो। क्यों क्या बोल रहा है मायने नहीं रख रहा हम लोग के लिए। हमारे आंखें क्या क्या इंफॉर्मेशन दिमाग तक पहुंचा रही है, खाली वो लाइंस असर करती, तो इस आदमी के भी बोले हुए लाइंस असर करते। यू वॉच, आज ब्लू है पानी पानी, एंड यू सी सम वेरी गुड लुकिंग बॉडीज, शेपली बॉडीज। इमेजिन कि वहां सब बेडॉल शरीर वाले लोग कहते आज ब्लू है पानी पानी, तुम कहते रहने दे ब्लू पानी, हमको पानी से एलर्जी है, राइट? यू वुडंट वॉच। Our eyes, the problem of all, the root cause of all the problem, root cause of all the problems, our eyes. Yeah, exactly. चले एक फिल्म बनाएंगे हम लोग ऐसे ऐसे लोग को लेकर के, देखते हैं कितना चलता है। Okay. John Lennon married the artist Yoko. Oh, no, no. Where were we? Where were we? Number 7. Who did John marry in 1969? He married Yoko Ono. Number 8. Where did they move to? Where did they move to? They moved to. खाली फॉर्मूला पकड़ लो ना, फॉर्मूला पकड़ लो कि कैसे हो रहा है, इससे इससे कैसे चेंज हो रहा है, ये दिमाग में समझ में आ जाए। Where did they move to? वहां मूव है क्योंकि यहां डिड है, और साथ में आ गया पॉजिटिव हो गया, they moved. They moved to New York. Number 9. When did John wrote? wrote कैसे बोल सकते हैं? सोचो ना। When did John write and sing? पता चले ना, यही एरर हो जाएगा कभी कभी फोकस के जाने के, लेकिन आपको पता है कि एरर है। Now you are 100% sure it is wrong. What is right? When did John write and sing Imagine? And the answer is in 1971. Okay. I wanted to just clarify, when I said yesterday that you guys should be together, I was not saying that you have to be together. I didn't say that. Suppose some people find it difficult to be, in the class at the time when the class starts. You guys can do it later as well. You don't have to be together. It was not a compulsion. I suggested that because you guys are friendly with each other, so why not be together? Okay, fine. Next. Rudra, I didn't talk to you. Please take admission. I need your help. Okay. Yeah, because like I said, this month I have to get admission done. After that, I know words will go, around that the classes are running properly. मैं कोई ऐसा काम नहीं करने वाला वहां जो बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? अगर मुझे मजबूरी में इस महीने करना पड़ रहा है तो that's another thing. Okay, इस महीने like I told you Sajid about what they have made it to. They have just spoiled the whole thing. तो maybe कभी शुरुआत के लिए otherwise they start showing cause कि भाई why didn't you take admission? वहां से वो प्रेशर डालते हैं ऊपर वाले कि आपने एडमिशन क्यों नहीं लिया एडमिशन। ओके, दे स्टार्ट, एंड एक्चुअली दिक्कत उनके भी है, कुछ जगहों पे वो सही करते हैं। अरे भैया आप एडमिशन चेक करते हो, ये भी तो देखो कि पढ़ाई कैसी हो रही है, उसको क्यों नहीं चेक करते? There are institutes where, all the people, I've been going there, like I said, maybe last week, 4 days ago, it was totally finalized that I have to take care of everything. Hiring, firing, everything. Who will work there, I will decide. Who will leave, I will decide. Right now, the two people who are working, they're nice, okay? So maybe I will add some more staff. But if anybody wants to make it like other places, I will not tolerate them. I want to run it like a private institute. The only good thing is, ऐसा सोच लो ना कि स्पोकन इंग्लिश क्लास है, तुमको पता चले कल से इसमें पैसा नहीं लगना है, बात समझ आ रही है, समझ में आ रही है, उस टाइप से वो चलना है, बस नाम होगा केवाईपी, but everything will be like in my style, the way I do it here, okay, pure education, no waste of time. हाँ, आप 20% लोग कभी भी नहीं, यहाँ क्या सब लोग मेहनत करते हैं, अपने नहीं देखते, पैसे देख करके बदमाशी करते हैं, तो उनको हम लोग एकोमोडेट करते हैं, समझते हैं कि क्या हो रहा है, राइट? अगर वहां पर अगर आप फ्री क्लास में होती तो लोग कहते हैं कि अच्छा फ्री का, इसलिए आपने अपने काफी क्लासेस मिस किए बेटा यहाँ पे, राइट? तो ये होता है, कभी कुछ ना कुछ चलता रहता है. We do not claim that okay 100% everybody will learn or something, but yes, we will make an environment which will encourage people to feel interested in learning. That's what our job is. I can't believe it. मेरे को कह दे गवर्नमेंट कि मैं पैसा दूंगा, आप पढ़ाओ, ठीक है, यहाँ पे, ठीक है, मैं कहूँगा बढ़िया भैया, तुरंत, क्या दिक्कत है, स्टूडेंट से पैसा लेना नहीं, पढ़ाओ. ऐसा नहीं कि मेरा पढ़ाने का जज्बा कम जाएगा. आई डोंट बिलीव दैट. आप देखेंगे ये वहां भी, बिकॉज द स्टूडेंट्स विल नॉट बी पेइंग मी, राइट? आई विल बी गेटिंग पेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, बट द एटीट्यूड विल बी वेरी मच द सेम. आज भी कर पढ़ा है तो सिर्फ मेरे लिए, मैंने बताया आपको कि कुछ स्टूडेंट सिर्फ इसलिए आ गए कि अब आपसे पढ़ना है, वहां छोड़ करके वहां के वाईपी. मैंने कहा अगर ये हो सकता तो हम करवा देते हैं, बट दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. एंड सम गर्ल्स टोल्ड मी कि 15-15 लड़कियां एक ग्रुप में गई हैं, 4-5 क्लासेस किए, उसका छोड़ दिया हम लोगों ने, सारे के सारे, कोई मतलब नहीं है, चल रहा है नहीं हो रहा है नहीं पता. व्हाई? दे थॉट इट वाज वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम. तो ऐसा तो रेपुटेशन बना दिया है, वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम, केवाईपी. इट वाज नेवर सपोज्ड टू बी अ वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम. अभी भी कई लड़कों को ना अपना लोकेशन शेयर करना नहीं आता, गांव कैसे बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, आपका केवाईपी कोर्स करके आप ये करना सीखेंगे, ठीक है. अभी भी कई लड़कों को नहीं पता है कि वो कैसे जाकर के प्रिंसिपल के सामने या किसी अधिकारी के सामने अपनी बात रखेंगे. सॉफ्ट स्किल में आपको ये चीजें सिखाई जाएंगे. लेकिन ये सब मेनली आप तो शहर के लड़के हो, योर पेरेंट्स कैन अफोर्ड टू सेंड यू टू पेड क्लासेस एंड एवरीथिंग एल्स, राइट? बट व्हाट अबाउट दोज हु कम फ्रॉम विलेजेस? More than 1 lakh students are staying in Bihar Sharif in rented flats, okay, rooms, beds, hostels, messes. But what is going on with them? They're not benefiting from this. कम से कम एक अकेला दिया जला देना है इस जगह पे कि आप भले ही आपके पास पैसे नहीं है, अगर आप ये कोर्स करना चाहते हैं, और आई एम प्लानिंग टू जस्ट गिव देम सम एक्सटेंशन एज वेल, मे बी कि वो केवाईपी कोर्स करके आएंगे तो इधर कुछ डिस्काउंट वगैरह दे, अगर बाय द वे, क्योंकि लॉ जब लग जाती है, वहां पढ़ाई कर लेंगे 3-4 महीने, तो हो सकता है वो कहें कि हमको आगे पढ़ना है यहाँ आकर के, तो आई विल ऑफर देम सम डिस्काउंट एज वेल, मे बी फॉर दैट. बिकॉज ओवरऑल कुल मिलाकर के पॉइंट ये रखना है कि दिस इंस्टीट्यूट शुड हैव द ओल्ड रेपुटेशन दैट इट टीचेस लड़कों का. हाँ, जैसे अभी दीपक, मैंने अभी कहा है कि भी आपका एडमिशन ले लेंगे, आपने साफ बोला कि सर आई कैन नॉट डू द क्लास, मैंने कहा फिर भी ले लेंगे एडमिशन, बिकॉज अभी आई एम अंडर प्रेशर फॉर द एडमिशन, बिकॉज अभी 4 दिन पहले मैं जुड़ा, ठीक है. 1 month एटलीस्ट आई विल गेट फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट टाइम, सो फॉर एडमिशन. वहां सब कुछ टाइमिंग से होता है ना. हाँ, आपका हो गया है क्या आतिफ? अच्छा, बताता हूँ क्लास के बाद, ओके. सो where did they move to? They moved to New York. Number 9. When did John write and sing Imagine? In 1971. By the way, let me tell you, this song is path breaking. This song is, I will say, it will make you think like, is it possible what he's saying in this song? It's not about a boy or girl. Imagine is not about a boy or girl romantic song. It's a philosophical song where the singer is proposing his idea of the world. He is presenting his idea of the world, what he wants to see the world like, and I kind of agree, not 100% it is. I know it will take a lot of time for this world to become like what he says in this song. But yeah, I agree with a lot of things he says. 10. Where did Mark Chapman shoot or kill John Lennon. Beta, you know why there are fights in the world? There are fights for some real reasons and for some imaginary reasons. Real reasons that, you don't have enough water, then you are quarreling for water. Those fights which are at the water supply, pump, my pot first, that is a real fight. They are worried that they will not get water. So people fight when they think they will not have what others will have. So they fight for that. And some fights are for imaginary reasons. Imaginary reasons means what will happen after I die? Oh, you're wrong, I'm right type fights. Unnecessary fights. Imaginary reasons. Those reasons are not real. Those reasons, you don't see anything happening in the world because of those reasons, but still people fight. So this singer, I think he was a very sensitive person, and he observed the world in a very deep way, very deeply. And that's why he wrote this song, Imagine. He wrote this song. He sang this song too. I will play if I manage to finish the text. Let's read the text, guys. This text will give you so much confidence because there are lots of simple past simple sentences, simple easy sentences, I mean, subject, verb. John Lennon was one of the Beatles. You know what? People say one of my friend. One of my friend मतलब क्या होता है? कुछ नहीं होता इसका मतलब. आपको बोलना पड़ेगा one of my friend. हाँ. Okay, stop saying one of my friend. ऐसा कुछ होता ही नहीं. मेरे दोस्तों में से एक. मेरा एक दोस्त मतलब जितने दोस्त है उसमें से. Okay, so one of my sisters. If you have 2, 3, 4, then one of my teachers. Okay, and I hope one of my neighbors, but you don't want to say one of my fathers. No, you don't want to say one of my mothers. Okay, although it will make your papa very happy. Okay. One of my girlfriends. हाँ, ये तो सुनने में अच्छा लगता है. Yeah, बोलने में अच्छा लगता है. One of my sons. One of my sons is a doctor. Maybe I have 2, 3, 4, and one of them is a doctor. One of my sons. रह जाएगा दिमाग में. रह जाएगा. ठीक है फिर. John Lennon was one of the Beatles. 90% people who speak English in your town say one of my uncle, one of my brother. अरे यार ये कैसा बात है? One of my brothers, one of my uncles. Okay. अगर एक ही है तो आपको बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. बोले my uncle, my brother. But आपके 2-3 हैं उसमें से कोई एक. आपको कहना मेरे एक अंकल जो है ना वो पुलिस में है. तो आप कैसे बोलेंगे? मेरे एक अंकल यानी आपके 2-3 हैं. One of my uncles is in the police. All right. John Lennon was, by the way, he was born in 1940, guys, as you can see, 1940. He was born. He was born. Not he is born. He was born. John Lennon was born in 1940 and he died in 1980. Okay. John Lennon was one of the Beatles. He was one of the Beatles. Yeah. One of the IITians. One of the IITians. Okay. With Paul McCartney, he wrote some of the greatest songs of the 20th century. He didn't write those songs alone. He wrote them with Paul McCartney. He wrote them with Paul McCartney. He wrote them with Paul McCartney, a friend, okay? He wrote them with Paul McCartney. With Paul McCartney, he wrote some of the greatest songs, not one of the greatest songs, some. आप लोग मेरे सबसे अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स में से कुछ हैं, मतलब कि एक तो नहीं बोल सकता हूं, एक बोलेंगे एक को ना, तो यू आर, अगर मैं एक को बोल रहा हूं, साजिद को बोल रहा हूं, यू आर वन ऑफ माय बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स, ठीक है भैया, यू आर वन ऑफ माय बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स, लेकिन मैं आप में से आप लोग को बोल रहा हूं, 4 लोग को बोल रहा हूं, 7 लोग को बोल रहा हूं, तो कैसे बोलूंगा? यू आर some of my best students. Okay, press the two-way switch on, off, something. Press the two-way switch. Two-way switch. Two-way. Okay, thank you. Whatever, on, off. Yeah, good. Done. Okay, can you press switch number 2 from the top left? corner. The switch number 2 from top left. Top left, switch number 2. Yes, thank you. So John Lennon was one of the Beatles. With Paul McCartney, he wrote, "You are some of my best students. You are some of my." क्योंकि मैं एक के बारे में नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, और एक को बोलूंगा तो हाँ हाँ ठीक है। लड़कों, कभी इमेजिन करो तुम्हें बोलने का मौका मिले, यू आर वन ऑफ माई बेस्ट वाइफ्स, यू आर वन ऑफ माई, या वन ऑफ माई फेवरेट वाइफ्स, यू आर वन ऑफ माई। क्या जमाना होगा वो, हाँ, क्या मजेदार जमाना होगा वो। क्या, व्हाट, यू आर वन ऑफ माई फेवरेट वाइफ्स, और उससे एक कदम आगे बढ़ो, कितना अच्छा होगा। अरे ब्यूटीफुल तो सब होगी, तो गिवन है यार, कम ऑन, कम ऑन, वाइफ है तो ब्यूटीफुल है। ओके, ऑलराइट, थिंक अबाउट इट दिस वे। अगर एक कदम और आगे बढ़ो कि तुमको क्या बोलने का मौका मिले, यू आर सम ऑफ माई फेवरेट वाइफ्स। क्या बात है यार, मतलब कि दो तीन को एक साथ बैठा के बोल रहे हो तुम, अंदर अंदर कूल, यू आर सम ऑफ माई फेवरेट वाइफ्स। बच्चों, आपको अपने अंकल को बोलना, एक अंकल को, तो आप बोलेंगे यू आर वन ऑफ माई फेवरेट अंकल्स। एक अंकल को बोलना है। ये बोल रहा है अंदर ही मन ही मन में, ये अदनान, कि मेरे को क्यों बता रही हो बच्चे वाली बात, पहले वाली बात बता। हाँ ऑलराइट, यू आर वन ऑफ माय फेवरेट अंकल्स। लेकिन दो को बोलना है, दो भाई हैं, दोनों अंकल है तुम्हारे, और उन दोनों को तुम लगा रहे हो, ये बटर अप कर रहे हो, या आप दोनों तो मेरे फेवरेट मामा में से है ना। यू आर सम ऑफ माय फेवरेट अंकल्स, और सम के जगह आप बोल सकते हैं यू टू आर माय फेवरेट अंकल्स, खाली डायरेक्ट बोल दिया तो यू टू आर माय, इसका मतलब कि बस आप दोनों सबसे ऊपर है। लेकिन यू आर सम ऑफ माई फेवरेट अंकल्स मतलब और भी हैं, उसमें से आप हैं, आप दोनों भी हैं। अगर मैंने कहा यू आर सम ऑफ माई फेवरेट स्टूडेंट्स, तो सिर्फ आप ही हैं कि और भी हैं इसमें फेवरेट में, और भी हैं, उसमें से आप लोग भी हैं। और अगर मैंने किसी एक को इंडिविजुअल कहा यू आर वन ऑफ माई फेवरेट स्टूडेंट्स, तो और भी हैं, उसमें से एक तुम, तो वन ऑफ, सम ऑफ, ठीक है। ओके, तो योर फ्रेंड ओपन योर वार्डरोब, योर फ्रेंड opened your wardrobe. बोला, यार, you have so many clothes. Can I take some of them? Can I? Yeah, can I borrow some of them? Okay, some of them. अगर एक लेना है तो बोलेंगे can I borrow one of them? Okay, so I hope you understand some, one. So he was one of the Beatles, and with Paul McCartney, he wrote some of the greatest songs of the 20th century. Done. Moving on. John Lennon had an unhappy childhood. John Lennon had an unhappy childhood. He had an unhappy childhood. ठीक है दोस्तों, John Lennon had an unhappy childhood. Okay, his father left home when he was 5. His father left home when he was 5. Yes, his father left home when he was 5. John Lennon had an unhappy childhood. Did you have an unhappy childhood? No, good for you. Good for you. His father left home when he was just 5, and his mother couldn't bring him up. अच्छा फ्रेजल वर्ब आया, couldn't bring him up. उसकी माँ उसका पाल पोस नहीं पाई. She couldn't bring him up. Bring up का past tense बेटा, brought up बोलेंगे my mother brought me up. बोलिए, मतलब अपनी माँ ने पाल पोस के बड़ा किया आपको. Maybe नानी brought you up. Anybody here? Yes, yes. Mudassir was brought up by his nani. His nani brought him up. His nani brought him up. उनकी नानी ने उनका पालन पोषण किया. Anybody brought up by auntie, mausi, bua? Anybody here? All of you were brought up by your mummy and papa. Okay. Krishna was brought up by, Krishna's mother was Devaki. All right. She was in the jail, in the prison. Who brought up Krishna? Yashoda. Yashoda. All right. Yashoda brought up Krishna. Okay. Krishna was brought up by Yashoda. All right. Mm. By the way, who has more rights on a child? The biological mother or the mother who brought the child up? Who has more rights, in your opinion? I want to know your opinion. Who should have more rights? Who should have more rights on that child? A mother who gave birth, the biological mother, or the mother who brought the child up? The mother who brought the child up. The mother who brought the child up has more rights. I totally agree. Giving birth is one thing, but the child wouldn't survive without the second mother, the mother who brought him up. So I think somewhere I will, okay, again, if the first mother gave up the child unwillingly, unwillingly, you know, means she didn't want to. The child was taken away. She was pressurized to give up the child. They said, you must, otherwise we'll kill you, something like that. Okay. Then she gave up the child. Okay. Then I have sympathy for that woman. But if a woman willingly gave away the child, you know, no, I don't want to have it. She has no rights after that. You gave up, you are not the mother anymore. You know, in the US, it is very common, by the way. A lot of girls, young girls become mothers there. 16, 17, 18, you know, they become mothers because it was unintentional pregnancy. They did not want it, unwanted pregnancy. And the law in the US is you cannot, listen. You can share your thoughts with me. In the US, they cannot abort the child, no matter what. They cannot abort the child. So they have to give birth. And after giving birth, because they didn't want the child, in many cases, they give up the child. They say, I don't want it. So there are government-run orphanages, government-run orphanages, मतलब government चलाती है. Because you don't have the right to abort, so give birth or छोड़ो. And then there are lots of children in America who are brought up by nobody in the orphanages. Yeah, so it's not very nice. Every child deserves love of their parents. और पूछ के आता थोड़ी दुनिया में, उससे पूछता है कोई कि तुमको पैदा होना है कि नहीं. तो ये बच्चे के साथ जो क्रूरता, I was watching Mahabharata. I was very young when I heard about Karna, and I felt very sad for that guy. उसकी क्या गलती? Why did he suffer? When I grew up, when I became older, my perspective changed a little bit. कि ठीक है, it was not your fault, but you didn't have to support दुर्योधन. आपको कोई सपोर्ट कर दे गलत आदमी, तो आप गलत आदमी को सपोर्ट कर देंगे वापस. He wanted to defeat Arjun, all right, fair enough. But you knew that Duryodhana was being stupid. He was doing immoral things. Who insults their bhabhi like that? Okay? चाहे भाभी कुछ भी बोल दे, तो आप ऐसे इंसल्ट करेंगे? The way he insulted his bhabhi. Did he think of his bhabhi as his bhabhi? She was his brother's wife, after all. उसने गालियां भी दे दी होती, तो पर भी he had no right. I think, people, मेरे लिए ना ये सब कहानियां ना बहुत फिलोसॉफिकल हैं, और इनमें मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट है इंसान को समझने के लिए. मैं इनको धर्म से जोड़ के नहीं देखता. मैं इनको कहानी के तौर पे देखता हूँ जिसमें सीख है, लेसन्स है. How could somebody allow a young man to insult the woman of their family? Shame on Bhishma Pitama. Shame on Dronacharya that they had no words to say. मैं तो कभी कभी जानेंगे कि इंसान को क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. All right. How you bring about your own downfall. आप अपने नाश का कारण कैसे बनते हैं. Okay. What things you should never do. Okay. Coming back. You see such people even today in villages. They don't respect their brother's wife. They don't respect their brother. Guys, his mother couldn't bring him up. Okay. I don't want to give birth to a child. I don't want to be a father if I can't bring up that child. Yeah. So John lived with his Aunt Mimi until he was 19. Use of until is very clear. He lived with his Aunt Mimi until he was 19. When he was 19, he stopped. यही होता है ना, जब भी ऐसे जाते हैं तो he lived with his Aunt Mimi until he was 19. यानी 19 का होने पर उसने बंद कर दिया क्या? With Aunt Mimi. Okay. Aunt Mimi के साथ रहना बंद कर दिया. But he lived with Aunt Mimi until he was 19. वैसे ही बोले कि सर हम यहाँ रहेंगे सर जब तक इंग्लिश बोलना ना आ जाए. कैसे बोलेंगे? I'll stay here until I speak fluent English. ठीक है. अगर ये लाइन बोलोगे तो मेहनत भी करने का मन करेगा. All right, trust me on this. Okay. Yeah, because you will keep reminding yourself that I want to speak English someday fluently. Next. So John lived with his Aunt Mimi until he was 19. When he was 17, his mother died in a car crash. When he was 17, his mother died in a car crash. His mother died in a car crash. When he was 17, his mother died in a car crash. Okay. He went to Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. He met George Harrison and Paul McCartney. Okay, so he went to Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. ये पढ़ाई करने की बात हो रही है. आप अपने बारे में बताएंगे कि हम फलना स्कूल में गए पढ़ाई करने. ठीक है, आप भी बोल सकते हैं I went to Nanda College, I went to others high school. वो एक दिन की बात नहीं हो रही दोस्तों. यहाँ पे अगर आप अपने बचपन की बात बता रहे हो तो एक दिन की बात हो गई. I went to नहीं, ये बता रहे कि आपने वहां पढ़ाई की. He went to Quarry Bank High School in Liverpool. He met George Harrison and Paul McCartney. And in 1960, they started a band called the Beatles. In 1960, they started a band called the Beatles. Called का देख लीजिए एक बार फिर से use. They started a band. अगर called हटाना है बेटा वहां कॉमा दे दो बैंड के बाद. कॉमा the Beatles. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है इंग्लिश का स्टाइल कैसे कैसे काम हो रहा है. They started a band, comma, the Beatles. They started a band called the Beatles. The Beatles recorded their first single, Love Me Do, in 1962. They recorded their first single. Single, by the way, is a song, a CD with one song, and we call it a single. So a lot of bands, because they don't have 12 songs, they don't have the resources to record 12 songs. So somehow they record one song, put it on the CD, and if people like that, then they become popular. Okay, so they recorded their first single. What was their first single? Love Me Do, in 1962. They became famous in 1963. Next year they became famous when they played more than 200 concerts. When they played more than 200 concerts, they became famous. In 1964, they went to the United States. In 1964, they went to the United States for the first time, and played on American television. They went to the United States for the first time and played on American television. Yeah, in 1964. They played on American television. मतलब समझ गया ना क्या हुआ? इमेजिनेशन चाहिए होता है. आप शब्दों को ट्रांसलेट करिएगा तो बोलेंगे अमेरिकन टेलीविजन पे प्ले किया. मतलब चढ़ कैसे से बजाए. Means their program was on TV. That's it. Their programs were on TV in America, not in India. That's why they played on American TV. Because on TV. I was on TV last night. I was on TV. मतलब कि आप अगर टीवी देख रहे होते तो आप मुझे देख सकते थे. ठीक है ना. I was on TV. लेकिन I was on the TV मतलब हम टीवी पे चढ़े हुए थे. ठीक है. I was. कभी कभी the changes the meaning so much. So no, the football is on TV. The football आ रहा है, मैच आ रहा है. The football is on the TV. रखा हुआ है फुटबॉल टीवी के ऊपर रखा हुआ है. The football is On the TV. Where is my watch? It's on the TV. अगर अभी भी आपके पास वो box वाला TV, nowadays everybody has the TV that hangs on the wall and you can't keep anything on it. इंग्लिश में बहुत सारे बदलाव इस वजह से भी आते हैं, कंफ्यूजन हो जाते हैं. अब कौन बोलेगा ऑन द टीवी? कुछ रख ही नहीं सकते. Okay. Earlier, when I was growing up, there was always a special clock on the TV, a small clock like this, which we had to wind up. It was not a battery run, clock. It was not a battery run clock. It means battery se nahi chalta tha wo. We had to wind up manually every morning. Okay. It was so much fun. We loved doing that. Yeah, पूरा कर दिया है. All right, and the alarm it made, very, very, uh, I won't say something we liked, the kind of music it played. It just makes a noise because two metals clink. That's all. It's not like today's alarm. You can change the music. मैं बहुत बूढ़ा इंसान हूँ यार, एंशियंट हूँ. मैंने ऐसी चीजें देखी जो शायद आप में से कई लोगों ने नहीं देखी है. यस. और अभी मैं 45 का हूँ, ये बोल रहा हूँ. सोचो व्हेन आई एम 65 क्या क्या सुनाऊंगा लोगों को. बिकॉज दोज हु आर बोर्न टुडे उनको तो कुछ पता नहीं चलेगा. एंड व्हेन दे आर 15 16 आई विल बी लाइक 58 और 59. एक्चुअली 60 प्लस. या. आपको नहीं पता, आई वाज ऑलवेज थिंकिंग अबाउट दीज डेज, व्हेन आई वाज यंग, कि कभी ऐसा टाइम आएगा जब मैं होऊंगा बुजुर्ग और लोग बैठे होंगे यंग मेरे सामने, मैं कैसा होऊंगा उस समय. आई रेड अबाउट अ लॉट ऑफ बैड बुढ़ा पीपल. am I gonna be one of them? मेरे को लगता था मैं भी उनमें से बन जाऊंगा क्या. धीरे 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 नाउ आई फील ठीक है, इट्स गोइंग ऑल इन द राइट डायरेक्शन. ठीक है. ओके. आई डोंट नो आपके दिमाग में क्या क्या थॉट्स आते हैं, बट आई काइंड ऑफ रिकॉर्डेड ऑल माय थॉट्स. मैं अपने आप को एक्नॉलेज करवाता रहता हूँ कि हाँ मैंने ये सोचा है, मैंने ये सोचा है. आप अपने कई थॉट्स को ना ऐसे कर देते, नहीं आया ही नहीं था, ये थॉट्स आए नहीं था मेरे दिमाग में. लेकिन हम सबको एक्नॉलेज करते हैं, कुछ भी आए तो हाँ मैंने सोचा था एक बार ऐसा. इससे पता चलता है कि इंसान कुछ भी सोच सकता है. हाँ, करना नहीं करना दैट्स अनदर थिंग. सोच कुछ भी सकता है. अभी थॉट ऑफ किलिंग योरसेल्फ? नेवर. ओके, थॉट्स आ जाते हैं कभी, बट इट्स अगेन एक सेकंड में हटा दिया. एक सेकंड में. दैट नॉनसेंस, व्हाट नॉनसेंस. ओके. ओके. या. So they played on American television in 1964. They went to the United States for the first time. पहली बार. English? खाली first time नहीं, for the first time. End of concerts. The Beatles stopped playing live concerts. The Beatles. एक दिन अगर मैंने पढ़ाना बंद कर दिया तो आप लोग भी बोलेंगे सर stop teaching English, right? I don't know if that day will come ever. The Beatles stopped playing live concerts in 1966 because the audience made so much noise that nobody could hear the music. The Beatles stopped playing live concerts in 1996 because 1966, not 96, 1966, because the audience made so much noise. Okay, tell me, if a teacher stops teaching because the students make a lot of noise, it is disrespect for the teacher or respect for the teacher? Total disrespect. The students are supposed to be quiet when the teacher is talking, which you are doing right now, listening to me. Okay. Okay, there at a concert, when they play the music and the audience start making a lot of noise, is it disrespect for the artist or not? He has never been to a music concert. Okay, people make a noise because they like it so much. Okay, did you go and watch the match there at the stadium? You didn't. You should have. Oh my goodness, it was difficult to be quiet. What? You had the ticket and you didn't go? Bhai Sahab, you should have done the, charity. You should have shared, charity. Yeah. Should have shared the ticket with somebody, with me. You see? Even if there was one, अकेले हम चले जाते, इतना मजा आ रहा था. A stadium, going to stadium, watching a match in the stadium, I think will become an addiction. The mahal, the atmosphere that you get there is so addictive. आप उसको मिस करते हैं आने के बाद. You want to experience the same. No wonder people paid 20,000, 30,000 rupees to be in the stadium. When so many people make a noise all at once, आप नहीं शांत रह सकते. You have to join them. Okay? It is so good. I suggest everybody should at least once, visit a stadium, watch a lovely, exciting match there. The match we watched was very exciting. Eventually, India won 3-0 against China. It was amazing. I really wanted to go to the final as well, but we couldn't really find the, pass. Yeah. Somebody had promised that they would arrange a VIP pass, but the last moment he said, "Sir, बहुत pressure है. जाने दो." Okay. The Beatles stopped playing live concerts in 1966 because the audience made so much noise that nobody could hear the music. फिर से वो so और that का combination. The audience made so much noise that nobody could hear the music. इतना हल्ला करते थे कि किसी को सुनाई नहीं पड़ता. इतना हल्ला करते थे कि किसी को, इतना जोर से मारा कि गिर गए. He hit me so hard that I fell. He hit me so hard that I fell. Let's continue. So, इतना तीखा था कि कोई नहीं खा पाया. The curry was so hot. मिर्चा वाला तीखा है तो hot. The curry was so hot that nobody could eat. खा नहीं पाया. Nobody could eat. Nobody. Okay, तो so और that का combination थोड़ा practice कर लेना, को जो भी मन करे उससे. ठीक है. वो इतनी सुंदर थे कि हम देखते रह गए. Okay, she was so beautiful that I couldn't take my eyes off. I couldn't take my eyes off. Audible F. Next. But they continued to record. They stopped playing live concerts because the audience made so much noise that nobody could hear the music. But they continued to record songs. ये चीज बंद नहीं किया. They continued. बहुत मुश्किल लगा हमको इंग्लिश सीखना, लेकिन हम फिर भी कंटिन्यू किए. Learning English was very difficult for me, but I continued what? Going to the class. But I continued attending the class. I continued going to the class. ठीक है? I continued going to the class. The lesson was very difficult. I didn't understand much, but I continued going to the class. And today I understand much better. Okay. The last album, where were they? They continued recording to record songs. And in 1967, they made the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. Okay, it is the name of the album. In 1967, they made this album. What a long name. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The last album they recorded together was Abbey Road. The last album they recorded together. John Lennon married the artist Yoko Ono. देखो कितना आसान है. Subject P2, Subject V2, हर जगह एक ही चीज पर ध्यान दो. तुम क्या सोचते हो जब मैं पढ़ता हूँ, ये इस पे डिपेंड करता है. जब मैं पढ़ता हूँ आपके लिए, तो आप सुनते हो मेरी बात, आपके दिमाग में क्या चलता है सुन के? हिंदी चलना चाहिए एक, दूसरा सब्जेक्ट V2 चलना चाहिए 2, ठीक है. वर्ब के बाद क्या लिखा है चलना चाहिए 3. आसान हो जाएगा. हिंदी चलना चाहिए ऑफ कोर्स. जॉन लेनन मैरिड द आर्टिस्ट योको ओनो. उसने योको ओनो से शादी कर ली, जो कि आर्टिस्ट थी. ओके. इन 1969 And in 1970, the Beatles broke up. Ladki aayi, ghar toota. Okay, the Beatles broke up. Why do you girls enjoy breaking our families? Girls, tell us. Why do you do this to us? Today, Rani is not present. Otherwise, I would have teased her so much. I love teasing that girl, the reaction she gives. Raj Lakshmi is so sweet. She doesn't react at all. She, what about you, Mapara? What do you have to say about it? Why do you girls like, breaking people's families? You don't like it? Then why does it happen? No girl except she likes doing it. You guys are those culprits who never accept that you do it. Okay, tell me, why do women think my husband works hardest? My husband works hardest. His brothers don't do anything. This is where everything starts, All girls, all married girls will have this observation. My husband doesn't get any free time. He works all day like a donkey, like an ox, okay? But his brothers don't do anything. And जब ये बात वो अपने हस्बैंड को बोलना शुरू करती हैं, वो बेवकूफ हस्बैंड मान जाते हैं कि सच है ये. That's when they should say, stop. When you are at home, then you sometimes do extra work. Your sisters don't do that much. That's all right. Not a big deal. मानना नहीं चाहिए. I'm not saying that the girls are the only one responsible, but somewhere they do actually create a situation. Not all. Sometimes brothers के बीच bond ही नहीं होता वैसा. लड़की का तो बहाना है. The boys don't have a bond. They're waiting to quarrel. Wives become an excuse only. But they didn't have a bond. I can see some things in my relatives and all, okay? How they get married and start quarreling within a month or two. They are no longer like earlier because they never had the same bond. And they just say it is because of the women. No, it's not because of the women. It is their own problem. Okay. बोलेंगे कि सर आप बोल क्या रहे हैं, कभी ये बोलते कभी वो बोलते हैं. हाँ सही है, लेकिन मैं बोल रहा हूँ यही बहुत बात है इंग्लिश में, और आप सुनते रहो. और ठीक है, क्योंकि ये मायने नहीं रखता कि लड़कियां जिम्मेवार है कि नहीं, आपकी इंग्लिश सीखना इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो आई विल से एवरीथिंग. आप मेरे ओपिनियंस को मत लो सीरियसली, मेरी इंग्लिश को लो सीरियसली. ओके, ऑलराइट. In 1960, the last album they made. Now, the John Lennon married the artist Yoko Ono in 1969, and in 1970 the Beatles broke up. John and Yoko moved to New York. कितना simple sentence. वो लोग चले गए न्यूयॉर्क रहने. They moved to New York. John wrote and sang his most famous song. By the way, his most famous song. Imagine. In 1971. In 1980, he recorded a new album, Double Fantasy. Fantasy, you understand? Children have different fantasies. Adults have different fantasies. Fantasies means things you want, but never happen. Okay, those things don't. Children look at the moon and say, I want to be on the moon. I want to fly and go onto the moon. That's their dream. That's their fantasy. Beta Sachit, do you sometimes look at the moon in the summer season and think in your mind, can I go there? Sometimes you have had that thought. No, you never had that thought. मन में क्या ख्याल आता है चांद सितारे देखते तो वहां जा सकते क्या? ऐसा नहीं आता मन में? ऐसा क्या लगा तुमको इस दुनिया से? हाँ, that you don't want to go on to the moon? What? I know, beta, dark fantasy. All right. So fantasies are desires and dreams which will not come true, unlikely to come true. Like boys, small little children have a fantasy that they want to be locked in a chocolate factory. It's a very common, fantasy. You like chocolate? Sometimes you think, kitna acha ho if I could be locked in a chocolate factory. Nobody is there, only me and maybe my friends. And lots of chocolate. All night we will eat chocolate. Okay. Yeah. And then when you grow up, then your fantasies change. Then you think of an island. and you think of Katrina on the island, and you, and nobody else. That's also a fantasy. And then you think of Priyanka Chopra there, double fantasy. Double fantasy. Okay, he recorded a new album called Double Fantasy in 1980. He was killed a month later. He was killed a कब से एक महीने कब से when he wrote double, when he got the released or recorded Double Fantasy, 1 month later, a month later, एक महीने बाद. Beta, I don't want to teach anything in a hurry, so we are out of time. So let's wrap up and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay? Yes. तो कल जो है एडमिशन के लिए मैं पहले इसको बंद कर दूं.